Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rise. We're back here at Walker Ford in Clearwater, Florida, and guess what? I have that new performance truck from the Blue Oval. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo. But before we get into this turbocharged all-wheel drive performance sports truck, let's talk about what's going on here. So performance trucks are no big thing for Ford. We all know the Raptor, Ranger Raptor, the F-150 Raptor, the Bronco Raptor. These are all performance trucks. This is the first time that we're seeing a compact truck that has some additional sportiness added to it. Now, it doesn't have a supercharged V8, but it does have some unique pieces to make it that standout for those who need some truck versatility, but also like to have fun, especially on the twisty bits. Now, there really isn't any competition in the truck segment for this Maverick Lobo. If you look at the price point, you would have to go, say, a Subaru WRX or maybe even a GR Corolla. But as you know, those do not come in truck form. But what I want to find out is this the most affordable out of all the performance trucks from all the different brands? Is this the most affordable? Let's go ahead, let's dive into our Lobo and find out. Right off the bat, I love the color. It reminds me of a perfect Hot Wheels shade of blue. It's called Velocity Blue, and it really kind of tells you right away that this Maverick is different than the rest of the pack. Now, at the front of the business, all Mavericks for 2025 get a refresh and an update. So on the Lobo, you'll see that updated headlight housing, LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, but we gotta zonk the old-fashioned Thomas Edison light bulbs for the turn signals. Now, I like the way everything is color matched up top. You got a little bit of flare in that fender, and I'm happy to say that we have LED fog lamps down below with a little bit of flat black. The way that they tweaked all the Mavericks for 2025, they definitely improved the style and the appearance, and the Lobo is no different. Now, as we come across the front grille, this grille is specific to the Lobo. It's got a nice concave shape to it. You have a forward-facing camera. I like the way they got that blacked out version of the Blue Oval. And then working your way down, the Velocity Blue and flat black on the lower grille opening, because remember, we do have a large intercooler because this is a turbocharged sport performance truck. But let me know what you think about the face of this Maverick compared to other performance trucks out there. Now, as we rise up, dig in the hood, it almost looks like they took a hood off an F-150 and shrunk it down in the dryer. Nice indentations, gives it a bold look, unlike the Santa Cruz from Hyundai, which is too rounded. It really looks, the Santa Cruz looks like a Hyundai Kona or a Tucson with a truck bed attached to it. This looks like a truck. Now, as we come around the bend, here's where we start to see some of the special, even more special touches of the Lobo. These wheels are Lobo specific. So you have these turbo style disc wheels. It is a 19-inch wheel with the venting all the way around. This wheel is meant to mimic the old Escort RS rally cars that raced in the World Rally Championship. I like them, but I don't love them. And the reason why is I wish that the dish that makes up the majority of the 19-inch wheel was just a little bit smaller in diameter and allow these vents to be larger. That would be more on par with those wheels from the old Escort RS rally days. But other than that, the gloss black with the Velocity Blue really pops nicely. Tires are 225 on the width, 55 series sidewall, and then I'm gonna have Steven kind of swing in and show you the suspension, because they did lower this truck about an inch all the way around. You'll notice the shock absorber, our springs, those have all been specially tuned for performance. One thing that you can't see because of the large dog dish there is, or dog bowl, is the brakes. So the calipers are actually off the Ford Focus ST from Europe. So you are getting beefed up brakes on this Lobo, not just extra handling performance, but also braking performance. And of course, with these tires that are 225 on the width and that 55 series sidewall, you're getting more rubber than any other Maverick that they have in the lineup. But let me know what you think about the wheels with the color. Now, working down the side, you do have a gloss black lettered Lobo badge. I wish they would have done something with this little area, so I am gonna zonk that. Color matched on your mirror caps. You got your 360-degree cameras. From the side, you can see that this is a compact truck. It's smaller than a Ranger, smaller than a Tacoma, and definitely smaller than an F-150. Now, because this is the Lobo, up top, I'm gonna have Steven kind of zoom in and show you that they actually paint the roof gloss black. So you actually have a gloss black roof. All the Lobos have that. One of the things I've always been on the fence about is the key button system that Ford has as an option. What this is for is, let's say you have a wave runner and you're using your Lobo to tow your wave runner to put it in the water. You can lock your keys in the car and then have your code so you don't have to have your key fob on you while you're on your wave runner. Great idea. It just makes the side of the truck kind of look a little dorky. So, not in love with it. They used to put it up here. I think I preferred it more in the door frame up top than right here. This kind of looks like J.C. Whitney catalog that somebody bought it and just stuck it on. But you do have color matched on the door handles and color matched all the way down, that Velocity blue. Now, this also has a specific all-wheel drive system. What's great about it is that it uses a dual clutch rear diff, and 50% of the power can be sent from the front wheels to the rear wheels to give you that 50-50 rally car-esque traction. Whether you're going around turns, whether you're doing some straight line acceleration, plus this has a Lobo specific drive mode if you want to get the rear end to come out a little bit and have some extra fun. Now, working our way back towards the bed, you still got that 4.5 foot size bed. Very small, but still very usable, because remember, this does sit on the Ford Escape chassis. Some people would call that not a truck because it's a modular chassis. Still does truck things, but it also does some performance car things. Keep working towards the rear. We swing it around the back. Love the way they did a great job on the tailgate. You're gonna have your updated lighting, the Maverick name. They should have put a Lobo badge on the back end somewhere. And then working our way down to ground level, you can still do truck things with your tow setup, and you have a unique lower bumper area. I think the other thing that would have been just badass is if they had like an exhaust that came out on the side like the original Ford Lightnings. So I feel like they did some nice touches. It's just that they should have went all the way for the touchdown. Why stop at the 5-yard line when you have nobody around you? Go for the freaking touchdown. And I feel like they could have done that, and they didn't. And that makes me a little frustrated. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk about power and performance of this new Lobo. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. Underneath the hood, you do have that turbocharged power plant. They could have put an engine cover there to kind of clean up and show off the engine, because this is one of those trucks that people are going to want to pop the hood and tell their friends all about what it is. But what do we have? It's that 2-liter EcoBoost power plant. So you're looking at 238 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. I wish they could have got the horsepower up to at least 275, maybe even 300. The interesting thing is that this uses a 7-speed automatic transmission from the Ford Focus ST. It's actually a dual clutch transmission from the Ford Focus ST over in Europe. 0 to 60 in about 5.7 seconds. The truck weighs 3,600 pounds, but you could tow up to 4,000 pounds. MPGs, 21 in the city, 30 on the highway. Other changes that they made is they upgraded the radiator and the radiator fan. It has a transmission cooler, and they also changed the front struts and the rear struts on this vehicle. So basically, let's talk about what we got going on here. Definitely important to have the increased radiator capacity and the better cooling fan, because they expect people to go on throttle with their Maverick Lobo a little bit more than the traditional Maverick owner. The quicker steering ratio is going to allow this to really handle like no other Maverick before it. And then the shock absorbers that they have up front are actually from the Mustang Mach-E, believe it or not. And the shock absorbers that they have out back are from the Maverick Tremor. So very interesting how they pieced this together. And the guy who engineered and designed the Maverick is the person that came up with this idea of having a performance version of it because of a SEMA build that they did many years ago. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire it up and hear if this Lobo makes any performance sound. All right, guys, we're inside this 2025 Maverick Lobo in the Velocity Blue. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, lay it on me. I've been looking at WRXs. I've been looking at Corolla, GR Corollas, and even Mazda 3 hatchback turbos. And for what I need, they just don't have the room. They don't have the room. I'm digging this Maverick Lobo. How much is it? MSRP for the way that this one is optioned is right at $42,000. That puts it in alignment with a WRX and a GR Corolla. But let's see what Ford is actually bringing for the money to the door panels. I do like the different color scheme, the two-tone with the sort of like off blue and the dark gray. You got a little bit of highlight blue on that door handle there with the exposed screws. Kind of gives it a nice industrial look. Nicely padded armrest. And then the door pocket is very creative. You could put, I would say, 4 Hostess fruit pies and a couple bottles of Yoo-Hoo to wash it down. We got the B&O sound system. My one zonk is that all of the plastic is hard. For 42 grand, that top portion of the door panel should be soft touch. Now going from the door panel to the dash, same material on the top of the dash. I like the way they kind of sculpted and gave this a little bit of topography. It's like a topography map design in the trim. The exposed screws gives it a nice, unique look. You slide on in, all new for 2025 on all Mavericks is you're gonna get this 13.1-inch infotainment system screen. It's the Sync 5, very easy to use. So very easy to go through all the functions. You do have heated seats, but no ventilated seats. For $42,000, I want ventilated seats. That's just me. You could bring up all your different screens on your home page, and then of course you have the towing, the driver assistance, all of those goodies perfectly laid out for you real easily. Now, when it comes to things like modes, you do have your different driving modes, and what's interesting is that this does have a Lobo specific mode, which I'll show you that in a little bit. But everything is in the screen. Let me know how you feel about that, especially the AC controls. Let me throw it into reverse for you. Camera resolution is good. It's got your trajectory and it's got your 360 camera, which is nice as well. And then you're right back to where you started. A little bit of that highlighter blue on the AC vents. This comes with Pro Trailer Assist. First time on the Maverick, that's new for 2025. Make you put that jet ski in the water, you'll look like a pro. Real volume knob. And then down below you got your start stop button, a 12 volt, you're gonna wanna run a radar detector, USB-C, USB-A, wireless charging, a place for, I would say, 5, maybe 6 paydays. And then this is where you could put 2 boxes of Tic Tacs. This guy right here is gonna control that 7-speed automatic, 2 cup holders. You got your regular 4 key fob, with remote start. And then you could shut off that pesky auto start-stop feature. You got an electric e-brake, shut off our traction control. And then you have another area. This is where you're gonna wanna put your 2 track day Twinkies. On the Lobo, you get the highlighter yellow with the highlighter blue stitching, soft touch. Open this up. You could easily put, I would say, 8 Beanie Babies in there. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Steven collects Beanie Babies, and he's not ashamed of it. That's what I'm so impressed about. The seats, the soft touch, the stitching. It's got the Lobo name embossed. Same bolstering as the other Mavericks, but the seats are nice material to keep clean. You have manual adjustments on the passenger side. I have electric adjustments. The other thing I don't really like is how you have this beige headliner. It reminds me of a rental car. For a sport truck, I should get a black headliner or a dark gray headliner. But you do get a sunroof, which is nice. But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel in this Lobo. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Like I said, the driver's side gets the electric assist for your seat controls. Seats are very comfy, definitely comfortable, and they're going to be easy to keep clean the way the material is. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in a Ford Maverick. And then the steering, the leather, the 2-tone stitching all the way around. You do have your mode selector button. It's interesting. It's on the steering wheel instead of having a knob. And then you do have little tiny paddles on the back of the wheel to go through that 7-speed. Manual tilting and telescoping wheel. And then you have that 7-inch digital display there. Obviously, you could scroll through a cornucopia of information on the right-hand side. And then when it comes to modes, you have a plethora of those. My favorite one on this particular truck is going to be Lobo mode. And look at that, they got a little autocross track set up with the tachometer on the left-hand side there that lights up and illuminates. No head-up display. I just like I said, I just wish there was a little bit more to make the Lobo really stand out on the inside. But why don't we get in the back seat, see if your passengers are going to enjoy you going through the twisty bits in your truck. All right, guys, back seat time. And this is where your rear seat passengers are going to get some really good room. And that's the way that the modular chassis from the Escape helps the Maverick, is by giving the rear seat passengers a lot of extra room. You got pockets on the back. You're going to want to keep some puke bags back here, especially if you go somewhere like the Dragon, 318 turns and 11 miles. That would be fun in this truck. I would be game to do that. You also have 2 USB-Cs and a home power source, which is nice. And then, like I said, the seats are comfy. They don't recline or anything like that, but they are very comfortable. And you do have a nicely padded armrest, 2 cup holders, and a power sliding rear cab window. But we almost forgot one thing to show you. Let's show you the interior of the bed to see if this Lobo really checks the boxes for you. All right, guys, I bet your WRX can't do this. Drop the rear tailgate. You're gonna have tons of usable space in here. You even have a home power source, which is great. Plus you got your LED bed lighting. And I love these movable different tie downs on the rear tracks. And on top of that, for your hidden box of Twinkies, you do have that all-weather protection in there. You could put Twinkies in there. God knows you could probably find other things to put in there as well, but this is what makes the Maverick so versatile. Love the way they have that set up, but you know what? It's finally that time. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle and see how this Lobo does. Guys, we're inside this 2025 Maverick Lobo. I do have it in Lobo mode. And if you're ready, I'm ready. I want to go on throttle and see how this is going to go down. On throttle, here we go. Nice. Quick shift from that 7-speed. And you could really feel in Lobo mode, you could really feel the difference in the steering sensitivity. That's for sure. It has a better weight to it. And with the new steering ratio, it's definitely quicker. Making a U-turn, no problem. But very, very fascinating what they have done with this truck. On throttle! gets the power to the ground. And the brakes is one of the biggest improvements that I've ever seen and felt in this truck. The calipers, the actual brake booster feel really, really good. I mean, it's got a nice pedal feel, solid, and it really sheds speed very, very quickly. By having the truck sit a little bit lower, we're lowering the center of gravity, of course. And that really allows us to take advantage of extra handling benefits. You are getting some sound pumped in to the vehicle, but nothing too obnoxious. I just wish that it had some type of Ford Performance exhaust. That would have been the cherry on top of this performance sport truck for sure. But just like any other Maverick, it's easy to drive. You got great visibility. And you have this handling capability now that was never seen before on a Maverick of any type. But really just well laid out in here when it comes to how this truck drives and how I mean, even in traffic, very, very maneuverable. I'm loving it. You got those 19-inch wheels. A little bit more rubber to meet the road. And you can tell, like in Lobo mode, how it really changes how the transmission and the engine behave with one another. But very, very fast shifts. And definitely a truck that has that little extra something. Now going down the road, the ride is smooth, it's comfortable, it's capable, it's not bouncy and jarring and whatnot. I just wish some of the finishes, like the top portion of the door panels, were a little different in the Lobo compared to the other trims. It's pretty much a cut and paste besides some highlighter blue and highlighter yellow stitching. But really drives well down the road, and I love the steering feel. This is really where I think that on a twisty road, it's gonna give you that feedback that you want and the quickness that you want. And having that dual clutch rear diff is gonna help get the power to the ground very, very effectively. Even with the way it downshifts, like you could tell in Lobo mode how it has these very specific, purposeful shifts that are really, really nicely done. Getting to the all-new 13.1-inch infotainment system, all Mavericks have the new large screen, but like I said, just be careful because everything is in the touchscreen now. The only thing that's not in the touchscreen is your forward camera button and your volume knob. Other than that, everything is in the actual screen. I'm gonna go ahead and shift manually. See how this goes here. On throttle, here we go. On the brakes. Now we're talking. On throttle. Quick acceleration for this compact truck. I just wish it had at least 275 horsepower. But definitely where it's at is the drivetrain, the all-wheel drive system, the transmission, of course the brakes. Gear indicator, very, very small, just like the other Mavericks on the bottom there. We'll see how this is gonna go. Second gear. On throttle, here we go. On the brakes. Nice. Now we're talking. Look at that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Definitely where this Maverick shines is gonna be on those twists and turns. I mean, it really gets the power to the ground. It communicates very well with the amount of grip is on the front of the vehicle and the amount of grip that you have out back. And the transmission seems to really shift nicely whether you're going up the gears or down the gears, which is important. It's just you really gotta be ready to shift if you're gonna do it manually, because this does not have a high red line whatsoever. On throttle. Like I said, you're not gonna get blown away by the acceleration, but where you're gonna get blown away is in the handling and the braking, of course. The chassis just feels rock solid. It doesn't feel like any other Maverick that you've driven. That's for sure. They should have just called it the Maverick ST. This Lobo thing kind of is weird to me. Slow down a little bit here, get some space. We need some space to do our thing so we could do it successfully. On throttle, here we go. Look at this, watch this. Nice. They definitely succeeded when it comes to the handling, for sure. And it definitely is a sport performance truck. Just let me know what you think about the price, 42 grand. It does start, this is the higher spec. There is a 37 grand base Lobo, but I think you're gonna want the majority of what this Lobo has. But we're gonna go ahead. We need to get back to Walker Ford and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. Guys, another great day in so many ways here at Walker Ford. Definitely gotta thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, and Tracy getting us access to one of their very first Maverick Lobos. Is it a performance truck? Is it affordable? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. Got to give it out to Stephen Flood. He's going to be entering a body lifting and weightlifting and body sculpting competition. So show him some love in the comment section. Hopefully he brings home the gold, not only for himself, but also for the Raised Rides family. Thank you, Stephen, for your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.